very warm welcome to the national news broadcast on Rupavahini. I'm Dilanjali Anand.
Good evening, I'm Clifford Richards. First of all, we take a look at the headlines. The funeral of Anula Jaitilaka, killed in Israel, is to take place tomorrow. Israel operations in the Gaza Strip gets into the second stage. Residents tormented due to floodwaters not receding in the lower Nilmala Valley. South Africa wins the World Rugby crown.
But it's over! Back-to-back!
The World Cup match between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan tomorrow.
The stories in detail. The funeral of Anula Jaitilaka, who died under tragic circumstances in Israel, is scheduled to be conducted tomorrow.
Well, her remains brought to a residence in Dalugama, Karania this morning. 49-year-old Anula Jaitilaka was engaged in services as a domestic maid in a house near the Gaza Strip. She was killed in a Hamas attack in Israel. The body was brought to Sri Lanka by air yesterday, and thereafter it was brought to the Negombo hospital for the post-mortem examination. The sealed coffin now lies at her house in Pranchavat in Lumbini Place, Dalugama. The Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau says the government of Israel has agreed to extend cooperation in conducting the funeral rites. A group including Minister Manusha Nanakar also paid their last respects to the remains of late Anula Jaitilaka. Minister Manusha Nanakar says that the Foreign Employment Bureau is hoping to have a significant compensation in addition to the normal payments. The reason being that this is an exceptional situation. The victim had difficulty fulfilling her obligations by discharging her services on behalf of the host country for 10 years. The minister added that the Israel government had stated that the victim had laid down her life to safeguard the country. Therefore, the Israeli government will show its gratitude. The minister had thanked the Israeli government in this context. Minister Manusha Nanakar further stated that the Sri Lankan nationals living in war-torn areas in Israel do not show much willingness to return to Sri Lanka. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that his country's war with Hamas has entered its second stage as Israeli troops and armored vehicles push into Gaza in an expansion of ground operations.
In a press conference in Tel Aviv last night, Netanyahu told Israelis to prepare for a long and hard offensive, describing the campaign as the country's second war of independence since 1948. Doctors and Palestinian Red Crescent in Gaza say Israel has told them to evacuate a key hospital in Gaza City. There are 400 patients being treated inside Al-Quds hospital, and moving them is impossible, the Palestinian Red Cross says. Around 14,000 civilians are also understood to be sheltering in the hospital and its grounds. Overnight, thousands in Gaza broke into aid depots, taking flour and other basic supplies. The UN Relief Agency for Palestinian Refugees say phone lines and internet connections are slowly returning after more than a day of almost total communications blackout in Gaza. The Israel Defense Forces say more troops entered the territory overnight, while warplanes attacked more than 450 Hamas targets. Israel has been bombing Gaza since the 7th October Hamas attacks that killed 1,400 people and saw 230 people kidnapped as hostages. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 8,000 people have been killed since Israel's retaliatory bombing began. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has apologized for the post in which he cast blame on the country's security services for failing to anticipate Hamas' October 7th attack, saying he was wrong to make such comments at a time when unity is paramount. In social media post late on Saturday, Netanyahu took a dig at his own intelligence services, saying they had failed to warn him of a looming Hamas assault and instead assured him the group was deterred. Israel has recalled diplomats from Turkey after President Recep Tayyip Erdogan accused of behaving like a war criminal. He made the comments while addressing thousands of demonstrators at a pro-Palestinian rally in Istanbul. The Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen responded by ordering diplomats to return. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel has the most moral army in the world. Israel has expanded its strikes on the Gaza Strip 3 weeks after Hamas launched its attack on southern Israel, killing more than 1,400 people and taking 229 people hostage. Since then, Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 7,500 Palestinians have been killed as Israel carries out retaliatory strikes. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has reiterated his call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and the release of the hostages captured by Hamas. Speaking during a visit of Nepal, he repeated his appeal for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire, the unconditional release of all hostages and the delivery of a sustained humanitarian relief at a scale that meets the needs of the people of Gaza.
A severe problem confronted by the general public in many areas of the inundated areas is the failure of the disposal of flood waters. Yet certain parts of the country received many rainfall yesterday as well. Floodwaters remain stagnant in the low valley of Nilwala River for a period of around 1 month. Farmers are finding it difficult to engage in their cultivation activities as usual. The roads Velletota, Velletula Kaddua and Velletota Vitiala still remain underwater. Incessant rains lashing in the Vallimada area last night have resulted in the falling of a tree on a road leading to Vallimada from Diaraba via Puhulpola. Our reporter says the power cables and building was damaged as a result. The Walasmulla area is reported to be covered with heavy fog, making it difficult for motorists. Irrigation engineer in charge of the Aduroya Reservoir, Sampath Samarjeeva, says heavy rainfall has compelled him to reopen 2 sluice gates of the Aduroya Reservoir. However, he points out that there is no still danger of a flood situation in the lower Aduroya areas. Well, we move on to more local stories as Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that the country is unable to uplift economically without engaging in an export diversification program. The minister has made these remarks participating as chief guest at the 2023 National Printing Awards ceremony organized by the Sri Lanka Printers Association in Colombo yesterday. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya was also present. Several institutions in the printing industry which demonstrated technical capabilities and excellent innovations in the printing sector were subjected to much appreciation on this occasion. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that most of the related industries are export-oriented. He added that a massive national level responsibility is entrusted upon parties concerned to make these foreign exchange earning industries.
State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya says that the proposed property tax is an extremely progressive initiative. The State Minister points out that, however, it will be implemented with effect from the year 2025 after an in-depth analysis. State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya said that the property tax is an extremely progressive tax approved even by the IMF. The tax is to be levied on those who are able to pay. The State Minister further said that direct taxes should be increased and indirect taxes should be decreased. Indirect taxes are recovered through goods and services. Accordingly, all have to pay indirect taxes. Property tax does not include common properties such as vehicles and houses. Only those who manage large-scale businesses are liable to pay the property tax, which is to be implemented in the year 2025. The taxation authority is the local government institution. Now, the Ministry of Health and Industries Dr. Ramesh Patrana says that he will act with firm determination to overcome the challenge of providing a remedy to the existing shortage of medicines.
Well, he assures that the government aims to provide continuously effective medicines of high quality. The minister further points out that it is hoped to effectively manage the prevailing provisions for the protection and also the promotion of the health sector of the general public in Sri Lanka. Minister Pathirana has made these observations after a religious program of the Purana Sunandarama Mahavihare Karapiti Gaul yesterday. Chief incumbent of the Vihare, the Venerable Kiribannara Dhammarakkana Thera and the Venerable Kiribannara or the Beriye Dhammika Thera were also present on this occasion.
Now, a Pirit mandap made out of lottery tickets is reported from Sri Kettarama Vihara in Kalupe, Hikkadua. It was designed by school children and patrons of the Vihara. It was constructed for an all-night Pirit chanting ceremony to be conducted at the Vihara in parallel to the Katina Puja. Certificates have been presented to the children who have been responsible for the excellent innovation. And the National Dengue Control Unit says an increase in the spread of dengue disease has been shown with an onset of prevailing rainfall. The health sectors request the general public to allocate at least 30 minutes of time a week for the cleaning of the environment. The national television, after taking into consideration of the dengue spread, has decided several months ago to unleash the National Dengue Operation Project with the aim of preventing the proliferation of the dengue mosquito. The main sponsor of the program was the Mortian Institute. The national program is being successfully conducted in 7 districts with the assistance of the Ministry of Health and several other ministries. An outcome of the project has been the setting up of dengue control units on the school level. A monthly evaluation on the series of programs pertaining to the Northwestern Province was held at the national television today. Director of the Dengue Control Unit, Consultant Physician Dr. Nalin Aryaratna, said that the normal observations is that an increase in dengue patients is normally seen with the onset of southwestern monsoon in June and July. He further said that they were able to control the spread to a great extent as a result of educating general public.
අභ්‍යවදානමකට දක්වා යාමට තිබ්බ තත්ත්වය යම් ආකාරයකින් අපිට පාලනය කරගන්න පුළුවන්කම තිබුණා. මේක ජනතාව වඩාත්
District Secretary Western Province Pradeep Yasaratna said that it is a question as to why people do not become more sensitive to this issue. He also said that the program of the national television has more attraction to the people. Deputy Director General Engineering SLRC Kapila Dasanayake said that school children are being mostly targeted in the program. Initially, more than 5,000 students have been incorporated in the program.
But moving on, we have more local news items in brief. The Navy has taken into custody 37 Indian fishermen and 5 craft engaged in illegal fishing in the Sri Lankan sea territory. The suspects on the craft were apprehended in a special operation carried out in the sea beyond Delft Island in Jaffna. It was conducted since last evening till dawn today. In operations carried out during this year, 174 fishermen and 27 craft have been taken over by the Navy. The Special Task Force officials have taken into possession several SIM cards of mobile phones and other accessories expertly hidden in prison cells in the Busa prison. The detections have been made in an inspection conducted by the old division of the Busa prison officials of the Busa camp of the STF based on information received. The Heart to Heart International Institute of the US has donated an emergency stock of medicinal aid for people of Sri Lanka. The value of the stock of drugs is more than $2.9 million US. They have been presented on a request made by Sri Lankan ambassador in the US, Mahinda Samarasinghe. Chief Sanganayaka of the Dakshina Lanka, the most venerable Mataramba Hemaratna Thera, has been admitted to the Galle Cooperative Hospital for treatment. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa visited the Thera today. A friendly get-together and a meeting of 2023 District Distribution Marketing Representatives of the Development Lotteries Board was held in Battaramalu today. Attention has been focused on the problems of marketing representatives, marketing promotion strategies for the next year, and also marketing guideline sessions. Chairman of DLB Ajit Naragala and Senior DIG Deshabandhu Tennakon and management of the Development Lottery have also attended the discussion. An elephant with a front leg pierced. Well, businessman Dudley Sirisena has presided over a ceremony to felicitate Asian gold medalist Thanushi Karunaratne in Polonnaru yesterday. Dudley Sirisena is hoping to sponsor Thanushi Karunaratne until her participation in the Olympics. A sum of 2.6 million rupees was presented to the gold medalist on this occasion. Felicitations have been extended to the chief coach as well. And the elephant with a front leg pierced with a wire trap was found in the Dahambaba area in Mahawali D zone. The elephant was walking with great difficulty. Our camera correspondent in Polonnaru recorded these scenes. Distribution of certificates to students who have followed a yoga program at the Karunakalura Ayurveda Resort in Vaikkala Vennapu was held in the presence of State Minister Sisira Jayakodi yesterday. Students of the Colombo University and Japan have been the course participants. Well, that's news at home. Time for a short break, and we'll be back with international stories shortly.
Welcome back on Foreign News. The death toll caused by a fire at the mine in Kazakhstan has risen to 42. The blaze ignited on Saturday and 32 people were initially reported dead at the Kostenko mine, which is owned by steel giant ArcelorMittal. The new figure was confirmed by the Ministry of Emergency Situations as rescuers pulled bodies from the rubble. The search for 4 missing miners is ongoing at the partially destroyed mine. Emergency services are searching for the miners in 2 main areas of the wreckage, spaced more than 4 kilometers apart. The search operation is hampered by the presence of destroyed mining equipment as well as rubble in some places, the ministry said in a statement. ArcelorMittal Termitrao, the local unit of Luxembourg-based steelmaker, ArcelorMittal said 206 of 252 people at the Kostenko mine had been evacuated. The fire, which is believed to have been sparked by a methane blast, broke out on the same day as a deal in nationalize the company's mining operations in Kazakhstan was confirmed. Kazakh President Kazym-Jomart Tokayev had ordered investment in the country's biggest steel mill to be halted prior to the blaze as he pushed for nationalization. This is second fatal incident in the last 2 months at a site operated by ArcelorMittal in Kazakhstan. In August, 4 miners were killed after a fire broke out in the Khangat mine.
Former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence has withdrawn from the 2024 presidential race, saying, "This is not my time." He made this announcement at the Republican Jewish Coalition in Las Vegas on Saturday afternoon. Mr. Pence is the first major Republican candidate to suspend his campaign in a race led by former President Donald Trump. Mr. Pence has languished in recent polls and has struggled to gain support of the Republican voters. The former vice president's campaign had also racked up large amounts of debt, with Mr. Pence ending September owing more than $600,000 and having only $1.2 million in the bank, significantly less than the other Republican rivals. The 64-year-old lost the support of many Republican voters when he publicly broke up with Mr. Trump over the January 6th Capitol riot in 2021.
Now, rugby fans all over the world is said to have witnessed the most dramatic Rugby World Cup final ever, as the South African team has managed to win the World Rugby Championship trophy for the second consecutive occasion by defeating New Zealand team by just 1 point in the finals yesterday.
Nearly 90,000 spectators were present at the Stade de France Stadium in Paris City, France, to witness the grand final. It was after 1995 that New Zealand and South Africa were competing for the World Rugby crown. An extremely intense competition got underway since the start of the game. Andre Pollard of the South African team commenced collecting points in the 3rd minute by recording a penalty.
Andre Pollard has the first points of the World Cup. Andre Pollard to continue his 100% kicking rate at this World Cup. Only the 2nd time of the final that New Zealand have been into the Springbok 22. Advantage. Richie Mo'unga gets the All Blacks on the board in the World Cup final.
The card has been reviewed, it's been upgraded. To red? It's upgraded to red. It's a high degree of danger and there's no mitigation.
Disaster for New Zealand. Andre Pollard aims at post once again, and it's the same.
In the first half of the game, South Africa collected 12 points through 4 penalties. But in the second half, South African team failed to collect a single point. In the 58th minute, New Zealand successfully converted the goal.
The left foot step, the right hand fin, the ball through contact, goes backwards. Beauden Barrett picks the ball up and finishes.
But it's over! It's over!
According to the final tally, with South Africa dominating 12-11. This was the 4th time South Africa won the World Cup rugby trophy. It is also the country which won the trophy the highest number of times. South Africans won previously the coveted prize in the years 1995, 2007 and 2019.
Have beaten New Zealand by 12 points to 11, and they've won a 4th World Cup title. South Africa are back-to-back Rugby World Cup champions. They stand alone with a 4th Webb Ellis Cup.
From rugby celebrations to cricket, fast bowler Lahiru Kumara is to be deprived of the opportunity to take part in the remaining Sri Lankan matches in the World Cup cricket tournament as a result of an injury. Dushmantha Chamira has been recalled to the team in place of Lahiru Kumara.
Kumara has withdrawn from the tournament due to an injury sustained in the warm-up sessions. Sri Lanka Cricket has requested the ICC Technical Committee on recalling Dushmantha as a replacement. The Sri Lanka Cricket has announced that today the Technical Committee has approved the request. Accordingly, there is a high probability of recalling Dushmantha Chamira for tomorrow's match against Afghanistan. The match will be worked out at the Maharashtra grounds in Pune. This will be Sri Lanka's 6th match in the World Cup cricket tournament. The team was engaged in the final warm-up exercises today. It has also been pointed out that there is a very much likelihood of recalling Dimuth Karunaratne as an opening batsman for tomorrow's match. In the 5 encounters Sri Lanka has competed so far, it was able to win only 2 matches. Sri Lanka is in the 5th place in the points table, securing 4 points. Afghanistan has also competed 5 matches. In also 2 of the matches they've won. The Afghan team with 4 points has secured 7th place in the points table. So far, Sri Lanka has engaged in 11 ODI encounters against Afghanistan, of which Sri Lanka has won 7 and Afghanistan winning the remaining 3. One of the matches ended in a draw. The ODI World Cup history, Sri Lanka and Afghanistan competed only 2 instances in Sri Lanka and had won both matches. Kusal Mendes will captain Sri Lanka and Hazmatullah Shahidi will lead Afghanistan in tomorrow's match, which is scheduled to commence at 2 p.m. Sri Lanka time.
That's all. Signing off. Good night.
Good night.